Hi, I'm Rick Barron, your host, and welcome to That's Life, I swear. Now, I'm a dog lover at heart, and that said, I have a book in my home library that I've been wanting to read for quite some time now. Yeah, it's about dogs, but it's a story about dogs and their owners. You see, the owners, Blair and Quince, run a sled team, and it's a story of this couple who wanted to share their story, the story of life with their dog team and the responsibilities that come with it. Let's jump into this. Okay, let me share you my thoughts about this book, which I really found enjoyable. The title is Dogs on the Trail. The story is a photographic journey into a year in the life of a dog team and the owners. The page passages are based on the author's Blair Braverman, widely popular Twitter feed. Now, you can find the link to her Twitter site on my script and in the show notes on my website, so please take a look after this episode's over. When Blair started posting pictures of her dog team on her Twitter account, she had no idea that the response to her Twitter feed would be enormous. Her Twitter entries provided various stories covering the ridiculous, the scary, and the spontaneity of being a musher. Since starting her Twitter account in 2014, the number of followers has grown to about 130,000. Blair and her husband, Quince Mountain, and I'm not making that name up, describe in the book that being a musher isn't just about racing. You see, she and her husband wanted to share various stories about life with their dog team, the good and the bad. The raising of these dogs from puppyhood to retirement and beyond is a full-time job, so don't kid yourself. There's very little slack time, and brother, you've got to be committed and love doing this. Being a musher and caring for a team of dogs brings many challenges. And we're not just talking about leading an expedition and having to encounter a moose or two, but the everyday chores that come with it. So let's go over this list, and this is just part of it. Scooping poop? Yippee. Shoveling snow. Chopping meat in single-serving pieces. Checking the dogs for any physical impediments that could stop them from their ability to run. Mixing various dog food recipes. Now get this, some dogs prefer venison, beef, pork, even hot dogs. How to build a team and determine key roles, such as the wheel dogs, team dogs, swing dogs, and lead dogs. I'm not making this up again. And how best to store 1,000 pounds of raw meat. Even how they train puppies to be brave for the world they're about to enter. Now, as mentioned, the book spans over a year in the life of Blair's dog team. The trip begins in the fall, as the winter starts to cool. Now, during this time, some of the venture dogs work with the new dogs, training on dry land and in the snow, then camping and racing. There's no rest for the worry here. With spring, the dogs, and more so the new dogs, start dealing with the mud, which makes it a lousy time for sledding. And summer is the season of new puppies. I found the book very informative, not only about what it takes to operate a team of dogs and being a musher, but about being brave, particularly when facing the unknown. It comes down to trusting your instincts and knowing that you are in good hands with yourself and your dogs. And by the way, if you love dog photography, then this book is for you. It's a fast read, and the text runs smooth, so I think you'll like it. So let me tell you something about the author. Blair Braverman is, and may I say, has quite a list of accomplishments. She's an adventurer, a dog sled racer, a musher, advice columnist, and a nonfiction writer. She has raced and completed the 2019 Iditarod, the 1,000-mile dog sled race from Anchorage to Nome, Alaska. Her creative writing talents lend itself to being a great storyteller. She provides a visual of wild outdoors that just comes to life. Now, she's also the author of another book called Welcome to the Goddamn Ice Cube. There's a title. She's also a contributing editor to Outside Magazine and a contributor to New York Times and Vogue and This American Life. She lives in the Northwoods with her husband and their team of sled dogs. Publisher Weekly called Braverman the 21st century feminist reincarnation of Jack London. Whew, there's a compliment. Her book, Welcome to the Goddamn Ice Cube, was recommended by Oprah. Well, there's a checkmark there. Now, what drew my interest in reading this book? Yes, as I said, I love dogs, pure nature. But I also love those people who are brave enough to venture into long journeys and screw the risk. And part of this book, Blair really calls it out about what dangers they face. I admire Blair for what she does. She has challenged nature over the years and is willing to accept any and all of the shortfalls that come with it. For Blair, it's just an ongoing affair of testing nature, learning about who she is, and adapting at the drop of a pen. In writing this book, Blair wants to share her learning experiences on how she and her husband overcame those challenges, such as tackling the realities of blizzards, isolation, and wild animals. For her many expeditions, she has learned to be strong, self-reliant, and not panic when found in a dire predicament. So let's face it, life is completely unpredictable. It's uncontrollable. Almost anything can go wrong. Well, Blair has learned that there is always a way out. You just have to believe in one thing: you. Now, what can we learn from this story? What's the takeaway? Having read Braverman's first two books, Dogs on the Trail, A Year in the Life, and Welcome to the Goddamn Ice Cube, I learned a new perspective in dealing and confronting your fears. For Blair, she wanted to face her fears head on and become a tough girl. So she took that giant leap and became fearless via dog sledding. She's dealt with physical exhaustion the like she would never have imagined. There were other moments when she didn't lose her grip, such as when she was buried alive in an ice cave and driving a dog sled across the tundra through a whiteout blizzard to avoid wild wolves. From the many journeys Blair has faced, she teaches us all that fear is a limitation we plant in our minds. However, if we just use our imaginations, our will to learn from our failures, the possibilities for all of us become limitless. Well, there you go. That's life, I swear. For further information regarding the material covered in this episode, I invite you to visit my website that you can find on either Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts for show notes calling out key pieces of content mentioned in the episode transcript itself. As always, I thank you for listening. Be sure to subscribe here or wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss an episode. See you soon.